and being used, especially in the PZ meetings.
It's okay,
right?
that's what it's there for.
Yep, we occasionally grab it and put it over here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special city council meeting today, Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. I'll call to order this meeting. If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call.
Brian Merskirchen.
Here?
Kari Miller.
Here.
Tom Berg.
Here.
James Vosepka.
Here.
And Scott Palava. Here.
All right, thanks. Approval of the agenda. Does everyone approve of 10A?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, motion by Miller. Second. Second by Wormskirchen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There are no minutes, no public hearings. Presentation of citizen petitions and comments. Comments limited to 2 minutes, so if you're not on the agenda, now is your time to speak. Okay, there's nothing on the consent agenda tonight, no old business. On to new business. Discuss the city's preliminary 2026 budget and property tax levy. Joel Erickson, City Administrator.
All right, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This is our fifth meeting pertaining to our 2026 budget and property tax levy. Departments proposed to be discussed. The levy here shortly. Library, EDA, parks, liquor, and then any additional items or priorities that the council may have. As far as the property tax levy, that was based off of, I think, our second meeting that we had. The council directed staff to keep the tax rate the same. Anticipated or estimating, making the assumption that values will increase 5% for pay 26 on average. And what that does, the spreadsheet should be included in here, generates an additional $153,200 in additional property tax funding over this year, 2025. I guess getting right into the departments, we got library first. So Marguerite, if you want to go over your budget.
Well, I don't know if you need me to go down the details. Joel and I knocked it out pretty easily. It's no big change from the past. I just thought I would use this chance to give you a quick update. I know Brian keeps you up to date on what we're up to, but it's been a big year, since last September we reopened after the flood with the new library design, and it's gotten a lot of great comments. All of our numbers are up. Our regular story time numbers are great, although not as good as the special ones during the summer reading program. We had special guests. The mayor really knocked it out of the park.
Well,
Stop. You know what? I can get some credit every once in a while, right? I'm going to take it where I can get it.
I think
You mean the
chief.
chief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason, you want to switch spots?
Everybody did great. The chief also did a great job.
And Joe. And Joe did a
Joe.
great
And
job.
Joe did a great job.
And the ambassadors.
And the ambassadors were
Yeah.
fabulous. We had a fire truck. Every one of those was well over a regular story time. So thank you all. It's fun to be.
It was so much fun, Marguerite. And there's going to be competition next year, I can guarantee you.
I love it. I encourage people getting involved. So summer reading program, we signed up grown-ups this year, which was even more popular than we guessed. So we broke records with that. And one of the big things we've been up to this year is grant-funded special collections. So we got board games with a grant from Selco, our library system. We got Tony boxes and Tonys, which have been wildly popular, with money from the American Legion and the Sons of the American Legion, some of which is also going to the next big thing coming, science kits. We got a grant from the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers for $2,000. So we are making those science kits right now.
Cool.
They'll be coming probably starting next month. And all of this is made possible by my crack staff. So I just wanted to thank you for all your close attention to the wage study to make sure that we are continuing to pay people so we are keeping those really great people. And next up is strategic planning. So starting next month, we're going to be reaching out to the community, making sure that we are providing the services that the community needs today and for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to talk about the details, but there are no surprises. We want to pay the staff, we want to buy books, we want to have events. So, does anybody have any questions?
Brian, do you want to kick this off? Being on the library board?
Sure, yeah, I know, so the library board has done a good job of starting to really forward look, taking a look at short-term, kind of medium-term and long-term planning. What I think is most impressive is when we start talking about ideas at the board level, a lot of the stuff that comes out of those ideas are, oh, we can get this through donations, or we already kind of have this in place, so it's, we can figure out a way to make it happen. So I think what's great about it is the creativity that mainly the staff, because it's always the staff like, oh, we can do that. I know who to talk to about that. But the creativity of the board is great. I mean, I think we have an outstanding group of people on that board. We've got some new faces over the last, 2 years now? Mm-hmm. Michelle, 2 years now? Is she in her second year, or is it still her first year and a half?
I believe she's in her second year.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of excitement from the new folks, and I mean, it's just, it's a great group, and it's always new ideas. One thing I think I would really like to see continue, hopefully, is the junior library board, and finding a way to connect the library board and the junior library board and kind of let them have a meeting together at some point. I know it's gonna be tougher with school coming up, but all the stuff on the short-term, forward-thinking stuff, most of it's stuff that will just organically happen without needing to increase a budget. I think the long-term thinking is someday a new library facility, so when we're thinking long-term, we're really thinking long-term, but getting ahead of it so we know what to look for, right? I think is the best way to describe the situation, but, we essentially have a brand new library. We have a brand new library, and, the budget doesn't reflect the cost of a brand new library, which is great. But the collection continues to grow. The offerings at the library continues to grow. It's just an amazing thing, and I'm really blessed to be a part of it.
We really appreciate you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, Kari?
I appreciate the collaborations and just the openness to brainstorming on ideas, even if we can't implement it this year because, it gets busy. But for next year, I'm excited about things to team up again with parks and everything else. And I appreciate the junior library board. I thought that was so cool to get our teens involved so that then it kind of lets us know what they're into, what can we do as a library to help promote those activities for them.
Tomorrow night, mini golf in the library.
Yes,
Yes, I saw that.
that'll be fun. Yeah, so I just appreciate all the work you guys do, and the creativity is huge.
I appreciate, we did some cool stuff in parks this year.
Yes.
So we'll
I
keep
love
that up.
it. Thank you.
All right, Jamie, you got anything?
Just a big thank you to everything you guys do for the community. It really means a lot.
Thank you.
Scott?
I'm trying to remember, when did the library come to inception? I can't remember what year that was.
2010.
It was 2010, okay.
We just had our 15th
Okay.
birthday party.
That was the first year I was on the council, and it's crazy to see how far it's grown in 15 years from, it was so, meager trying to, we just need books, we just need the basics, to becoming one of our most valuable assets in our community. So, there's a lot to say about the strength of the leadership and the board and the community in supporting it. So that's been great, because I know there's some people that say that, who needs a library anymore? Just, nobody checks out books or whatever. But as a society, we're struggling to promote reading and communication and all that stuff. So it's not just about the just checking out a book because it's fun. We're trying to grow our society, the younger generation and the older generation to still have those abilities and become a better population. So
And come together.
yeah, absolutely. So thank you for all that.
And Marguerite, and I feel terrible because you printed out your report for me that you did for the county,
Oh, yes.
and they are sitting on my desk at home. So I will bring those up for you folks. I have one for everybody. It's the presentation that Marguerite did for the county, because we have to do a county budget presentation as well. I'll make sure that those get up here and leave it in everybody's mailbox so you guys can see that as well. So I apologize. I've had them sitting there, and I kept thinking, I gotta remember to bring these, and what do I do? I left them at home.
So, one thing I gotta ask, I was trying to pull it up, and I have some of the bonds here. Does the TIF come up, is this the one I'm looking at where TIF comes up 2036? Does that sound right, Joel?
I would have to look. I believe the debt service fund is 310. But
Yeah.
2036, I would say,
Cause I got the 2016 C.
I would say, yeah, at least 36.
Okay.
Because we refunded that several years ago. But yeah, I can't remember how long it is, but that sounds about right.
So it was a 20-year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
2036.
that would jive with 2025 being the 15 years, so 10 years from now.
So,
Oh, wait, no, 25, so
No, it'd be 25 years.
Yeah, 25, excuse me, not 20.
so the one thing that I think that we should probably add in the comprehensive 2040 plan is probably library space, because I don't know what that looks like once TIF goes up by 2036. And on here, Marguerite and your team are just doing such a great job and growing, that we should probably add that on there. Probably look at a place. I'd love to have an area for the library where there is kind of a historical society there too, and I kind of look at, the historical school as well. That way we can utilize that more if that's ever a thought, down the road. But you guys do such a great job at the library, and you know that, I mean that. I say it every time I see you guys. Does everything that you guys have on your list, your 3 to 5 year, is this all pretty attainable for you? What's that look like in that 3 to 5 year? Are we gonna look at a capital outlay? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I'll have better answers for you after we do our strategic planning.
Okay,
Because I wanna find out, because this was sort of me brainstorming with the help of the library board.
Yep.
So I really want to find out where this community is and make sure that my ideas are what people want. But yes, my answer is, short of a new building, a lot of it is very attainable.
And I would say, encourage everyone to take a look at the list if you haven't. And if we do start to have a conversation about space, key things to keep in mind there, it's not just shelving space, but one of the big things that's come up quite frequently in discussions with the library board is the ideas of maker space. or creator space.
Yes. Yep.
So it's moving beyond the traditional library offerings to new things, and that's kind of the trend, whether it be larger library systems or university libraries, that creator space is a thing, and then outdoor space is another thing that comes up quite frequently, which, you know, with the parks too, that could be somewhere, you know, have a conversation, is that a good time to discuss the idea of a community garden as well within that outdoor space within the library realm? So.
I pulled the debt service, that is correct. The last payment will be February 1st of 36.
Yeah. So that gives us some time. But then it's a 2-year, if the village is ever asked to review it. But, okay, yeah, you know, I'm excited to hear what your strategic planning comes up to and how can we support you, and you guys are knocking it out of the park, so I got nothing else I want to add, unless somebody has anything. Brian?
No, I've said.
Kari?
Like I said,
Jamie?
I'm good.
Scott?
Thanks for
All
your
right,
ongoing
Marguerite.
support.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Marguerite.
All right, Joel, where do you want to go next? Do you want to do the liquor store?
We can, sure.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. I'm not gonna have as much fun things to talk about as Marguerite, but, as you know, liquor store, the revenues that we make are strictly just sales. So we're kind of at that 2 million, 2.1 million in sales over the last 3 years. And so expenses go up, sales kind of stay plateaued, so we're trying to figure out how this is all gonna work. So the only revenue that the liquor store is gonna have is the sales of product and any interest we get off the money in the bank. So expenses, I'm gonna go through all of these boring things. I'm not gonna go through every line item, I'm just gonna go through these bullet points. We try to be real, conservative with numbers. So we kind of took some things away. But in training and education, we put money for Safe Assure, the Lonsdale Chamber Dinner, MMBA conference that we plan on attending in 2026, and alcohol training. Repairs and maintenance would be the next on my list. That would be any unexpected items like coolers or anything electrical or anything that happens. Things of that nature. Next in line is merchant credit card. What we've noticed over the last couple of years is our fees have been increasing just little by little by little by little, and all of a sudden me and Joel were looking and I was like, whoa, I'm at like 60% of where I should be this year. So I called my lady and we're trying to barter a deal to and decrease the percentage of whatever. So she kind of gave me a number. Had we been on this, which would be no contract, and there would be a flat rate, no increasing, where before we were kind of on an adjustable, slow, kind of whatever, we would have probably saved $850 in the month of July.
Jeez.
So we are working right now with Mint Pay and this Marilyn Schneider that I have currently into kind of switching inside the same company, but a different servicer. So we're working on that to decrease that, because I would say about 80% of all my sales are put on a credit card. So it's very important that on 2 million in sales that we try to save as many pennies as possible when it comes to that. So currently in the works. Cost of goods on beer, liquor, wine, THCs is all based off of historical data. My point of sale system keeps track of all the percentages and the ratios and what I sell and what I do sell. And interesting enough, in Lonsdale, 52% of my sales, or sometimes higher, are all beer sales. So of course, when it comes to the liquor world, the beer is the least marked up product, where then it's liquor, and then your wine and your THC are the highest. So they're they're a lower ratio, so we have to work really hard with my margins and things like that to make sure that I'm staying competitive with other stores, but making what I need to, you know, balance budgets and things like that. And of course, it's all based on historical data, and we try to do, you know, we did this much this year, we should have an increase of 3%. That's what we kind of went with budgeting all those categories. All right, professional services, things like the security system, pest control, Cintas, tech support, floor cleaning, all boring stuff, but all the things I need to do to keep the store looking nice and functionable. Subscriptions come to, I am involved in the MMBA, so we have subscription to them, the chamber, archive social, my software support, things like that. I do still do the porta potties for community days as far as the donations go every year for that event. And capital outlay, right now we have no proposed capital expenses because we just had fixed the HVAC system and that's running good, and cross my fingers that the coolers don't die. But that is the one area that I was able to save a lot of money just by not forecasting any problems. There is money put aside in like building maintenance repairs. I left that money there. And we also reduced the association fees. We're always putting money in the budget for trying to get the parking lot, and it's never getting done, so we kind of laid off and kind of decreased that number, and if anything ever occurs, we will use our reserves to pay for that. But we just kind of went through just what historically has been going on and what we're not using and what we are using, and kind of hit that. So in a nutshell, that is what I have for you tonight. The liquor store goals, one of those was a lot of crack filling, still coat and things like that, but like I said, we're going to, just because it's an association, I'm not in charge of that, Joel's not in charge of that, and they don't seem to be in a hurry to fix anything, so we just take care of ourselves for this next year, so. Any questions
All right,
or
Corey.
comments?
Thank you for just being awesome. I just appreciate all the work you do and your staff. You guys do a great job, very friendly, and it's fun to come into the liquor store.
Thank
and
you.
Say hi to everybody and see, it is very clean and it is very kept up well. So thank you for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
All right, Jamie.
I'm good.
Scott?
Much like the library, I'll bring up, I remember a time when we were considering selling it.
Right,
The liquor store was hemorrhaging money and we didn't know what to do, and the board really buckled down and really got back to the basics of business versus just trying to be competitive. It doesn't make, you don't make any money if you're
right.
giving stuff away. So we turned it around to where it is now. Building's paid off, and we're investing in the community and the facility even more. So very happy to see that happen. Great job over the years.
Thank you.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. The staff we've got over there, amazing people. You know, I hear stories all the time of individuals at the liquor store and how helpful they are and how above and beyond they go for our customers in Lonsdale. So thank you to the staff. Please make sure that they know that they're all appreciated, every single one of them. Even if they're only part-timers going back to college soon.
Right? I know, that part kind of stinks a little bit, but.
Yeah, come back, you know, we'll take care of the breaks and all that other stuff
Oh,
too.
yeah,
But,
that's, we got them hooked up.
the carts, those were budgeted for 2025, right? Do you
And I
still
don't-
think that's gonna happen, or is that
Yeah.
gonna roll over? Okay,
It's
so you're
gonna
still planning on 2025 to do that?
Yep,
With the liquor training, or the alcohol training, excuse me, do they do any training around the THC products as well, or do you foresee specific training
so,
coming on that?
last year it was pretty new. Basically, the only thing that was brought up was card everybody, make sure they're 21. There wasn't a whole lot of verbiage of THC training. It's kind of, all falls in the same rules as the liquor. Liquor
Yeah.
laws apply to this, tobacco laws apply to the whole thing. Card them, make sure whatever, and if they think they're impaired, don't make a sale. So last year was my first year with it.
Sure.
And it was kind of new to the trainer, and so this year when I get into it, I'm kind of interested to see if they've, have.
But you haven't heard anything coming down
No.
the pipe that there's gonna be specific training around, so that's good.
No,
And I know
so-
that the MMBA is pretty good to stay on top of that too,
Yes,
right?
if there's something new that comes up, we all get flash emails and they will call and
Yeah.
make sure that we all know what is going on. So, I mean, that's a great organization to be a part of, very informational.
Well, and I know that, like, I mean, just, to kind of ring the bell as to why it's a good relationship, for the longest time there, we thought we could only do cash sales of all of our THC products, and it was
Right.
the MMBA conference
When we went to
where-
the conference and I
where we
kind of
found
started
out.
paying attention and there was 6 other companies that said, oh, well, if they're not gonna do it, we will. Don't know their rates, didn't know whatever, so then I marched right over to Maryland and was like, hey, oh, I will call you right away on Monday morning and we will fix this, and it got fixed. Within, I think about a week,
Yeah,
she had everything turned around.
yeah, so those dues are money well spent, I would
Yeah,
say.
so what their problem is edibles, things that have higher, milligrams and whatnot. They consider that to be a higher risk, so if we were gonna be a higher risk, our fees would have been higher.
Yeah,
But how would you be able to tell if it's a liquor sale or a THC sale? They don't know the difference.
Right.
So they would have just put it for, like, 5% of my sales at the higher rate for everybody. So I'm like, no, I'm doing beverage only, I'm never gonna do edibles, I'm not, doing that. And so I was able to stay at that rate where I was, so.
awesome. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Lynette, you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
And it's gonna be a headache when you retire to
Got
fill your
time.
position. I hope one day you get that big RV and you can.
That's what I'm doing, 13 years, I'm selling everything, getting in the RV and going. 13, 14, maybe 15 years, we'll see.
Okay, good.
But-
So not like short term.
No,
Okay,
I
perfect.
have time.
Good.
I'm just 52.
I think one of the big things is, that we try to keep the liquor store with its reserves. I know in the past that we'd use it for, some parks or some amenities or whatever it was, but, there seems to be enough here where it's like, hey, let's make sure Lynette's comfortable with what she has in case something sparks up, but I do think we need to spend some time with this association and have a meeting and talk to them about, several things now. See what we can do on that end. But I do thank you for all the work that all your staff puts in.
Thank you.
Between the liquor store and the library, it's like, I wish I could throw more thanks at you guys, and you guys do a lot for the community. So I really appreciate all the work you put in.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, Joel, what do we got next? Do we want to touch on that association thing? Talk about probably,
For the liquor store?
yeah, yeah, probably. And then probably that road again, and just try to talk with Subway and Snap, see where they're at with things, and
We can. My guess is their position hasn't changed, and it's,
yeah.
yeah, sure, if you wanna do it, you can pay for it, but I don't know.
So I guess one question I have, because the road is covered through the association, correct?
Yep.
We now have 2 new
Yeah.
businesses. Have we, well, I guess this is more of a question of, should we be approaching the association to say, hey, do we want to see if these guys want to become a part of this association since they're benefiting from it? I know,
So so that whole development was in the association. And then when Fred sold to McIntoons, they severed. They did not want to be part of the association.
okay,
So then when Gene Barron's passed, Randy Stangler bought that property from him. And through that process, he did not want to be part of the association.
okay,
So, obviously there's, 2 new tenants there. There is an agreement where, if maintenance is done, what cost share it would be for everyone that, would benefit from it.
sure.
And basically it's just on footage, so, it's, it's all property owners on the north and south side, so.
Yeah.
I think it's a bigger discussion than just, the car wash and in the gas station.
Yeah.
But we certainly could,
Has it ever been proposed before to sit down and talk with them since Wetsy's in the bank?
there has not been an association meeting in a long time.
Can anyone call one? Any member of the association? Or ask for one?
I would have to look, I mean, I don't see why if someone wanted to have a meeting.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about that episode of The Office where they're trying to get the 5 families to come sit down.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a meeting and see if there's a larger plan or to gauge people's interest.
Because, I mean, I know we had that conversation earlier this year about the road. And should it remain private? Should there be a change there? And there's a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of what ifs for that road. But it's almost like at some point, something's going to have to happen, right? I mean, there's gonna have to be some maintenance on the road. There's definitely gonna have to be some maintenance on the parking lot. And, I mean, to sit and say, not interested, not interested, not interested, only gets you so far until it falls apart.
Yeah, especially having so much percentage into that, association.
And the cost just goes up the longer we say, no, not right now.
Yeah, and the association would just be 100% responsible for the one parking lot with
Right.
the liquor store, Snap, and Subway.
Yep.
Anything done with Ash Street, there's a maintenance agreement, and it's proportionate to essentially how much footage each owner has adjacent.
Much like an assessment.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I would love to entertain that, have an association meeting. Figure out where everybody's at and. but- All right, I think we can move on.
No.
Which I think is the EDA, right?
EDA?
Yeah.
Yep, so they actually, at their meeting last month, did review their budget, and they have a meeting on Thursday morning where they should finalize it. There's essentially 3 funds with the EDA: the revolving loan fund, 208, the small cities grant, 209. So basically, the revolving loan fund was set up, separated from the EDA so that there's a dedicated fund, and all principal and interest paid on those loans goes back into that fund to, at 2% increase it minimally, but, keep building that up so that we can, provide low interest loans to future businesses. And then this way, it just doesn't get eaten up by whatever expenses, BR&E, marketing, or whatever the case may be. And also, staff has knowledge of how much is available. When people would call and it's like, I don't know. This way it's, boom, 208, there's $55,250 in there or whatever. The small cities grant, that is just strictly expenses paid for the housing rehab projects and administration. And then the revenues would be any reimbursements that we receive from deed that we submit for, again, admin and project costs. So basically, before this gets approved in December, whatever the fund balances are, that'll essentially be what the expenses and revenues will be or it'll be. I believe the grant that we got was $431,000. So whatever's been spent out of that will just be the anticipated revenue and expenses. So we're gonna have to do a push on that. We are 2 projects are complete. The 3rd one, the property owner is out for bid, and then the 4th and 5th project, they are working on their scope of work. So I'd anticipate that they get bid here. I don't know, it's really just dependent on, it kind of gets in the homeowners court eventually as far as getting bids and everything. And then the back and forth, but, ideally it would be great to get 5 projects done by the end of this year. And then we'll have to do a push to get more interest in the program, because I really don't want to leave any funds on the table. And I do believe that is kind of a criteria or component of when they're reviewing future grants rounds. Hey, they said they were going to do this, did they? So I want to be able to say we did.
Yeah.
But again, at the same time, you have to have property owners that want to do something.
And qualify.
Yep, and qualify.
I think the qualifying was the hard part
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
And we had some people that were interested, but when it came to having to share financials, they wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think if it sat on the table for so long, do you think they would, kind of open it up a little bit more for
No.
people? They just stick with the same requirements.
Correct. Yep.
So even
Yep,
if you
it's-
got cost of living,
Yep, it's federal funding.
Wow.
The only thing that would change would be annually, HUD's income requirements,
Right.
based off, family 1 through whatever it is, 6 or 8. And then the last fund is the 210 fund. The EDA, essentially revenues are the property tax levy. And then, as I previously said, they should be finalizing their budget here on Thursday morning. And then at their last meeting held July 16th, some of the items talked about were marketing, social media, a different type, restarting the business visit program where we get out and talk to businesses on a regular basis, 2-3 a month, and get in front of them and tell them what we have to offer, hear from them what their concerns are, how we can help improve the economy, business, community here in town. Contributions, we sponsor several chamber events and then provide a contribution to the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation. There was also discussion on a facade rehabilitation program. The last time, so the EDA offered this program in 2016 and the last time was 2022. 4 businesses did take, I don't say advantage, utilize the program. Those projects, we allocated $50,000 and it was a up to $10,000 match, dollar for dollar. So they'll be discussing that at their meeting on Thursday if they want to allocate funds to that. I'm not anticipating the policy being completed at that meeting, but if it is something that they want to do, allocating a certain amount of funds to that. That's basically the EDA. So.
okay. Jamie, got anything you want to add?
Nope.
Scott?
There was one thing that I thought of after the meeting, and I mentioned it to Brian after one of our meetings recently, was the EDA, when we effectively sold the lot in the business park, we decided, we were going to use our marketing budget, and we used that to go for the city's social media program. But as we've been looking at it, it's not, I don't feel that it's really a good use of a marketing thing when, we're using it for citywide everything. We're not actually using it for marketing. It's community notice and that sort of a thing. So I'm want to propose to the EDA to look at, is that really the EDA's role is social media, or if that should be on a city almost administrative level versus the EDA. So there's lots of other things that that money could be used for, and now we have that land again, but we don't have the money to market it because it's tied up in our social media contract. So I'll be proposing that on Thursday. So.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Scott, you did mention that, I believe after the last council meeting, we were briefly chatting about it. I agree. I see
maybe at some level, the EDA paying for a portion of it potentially, but it's something that could be utilized by pretty much every department within the city, so it shouldn't be just the EDA funding the social media for everybody. Because it doesn't, and not that it's a big cost, but it goes against the mission of the EDA. It's spending money on something that's not the core purpose of the EDA. And other things that have begun to have a conversation about within EDA. And I think this is where we're, not necessarily for next year's budget, but it's gonna be an issue for future budgets. The business park, once that's full, because it will be at some point someday, you know, I'm optimistic that that will happen. But we've had conversations at the council level here in work groups about what's next, where do we go? And, you know, just historically, how long it takes to acquire land, to, you know, the whole, from we should probably do this to getting to a point where we have a property ready to market is a long process, and it's not cheap either. But that's definitely something the EDA should have a hand in, a discussion in that process. That's part of the core focus of what the EDA should be doing. So, you know, that's something that we have had some conversations about, you know, what does the next phase of business park, or whatever we want to call it, look like. So I think that should be an ongoing discussion that will continue. I guess it's really outside of the budget itself, but the marketing piece of what we have now, that's something that we need to do. You know, we've kind of gone up and down this hill a few times, but that's something that I believe should be part of the discussion on Thursday as well.
All right, Kari?
I just like the idea of getting back to visiting the businesses and having those relationships with them. I think it's really important to continue those good partnerships in town and to drive more business to come in. And then I agreed about the marketing. I'm excited to see what other ideas come up about how to market Lonsdale and bringing your business here. So that's all I have.
So, I have a lot to unpack here with EDA. I agree with the social media. In fact, I have had that thought for the longest time, is where does that social media presence go? I think that if it is something administration wants to do, whether it's Kelly or whether it's Brittany or whoever it may be, good, we can keep it in-house. And then we can keep the Canva on the planning and zoning budget. But, no, but I really do want to open that up. If EDA considers to either look out for bids, I really want this to be, you know, Lonsdale residents, because they're the ones that live here. They're the ones that see what's going on, what they can promote and be a part of it. So either way, whichever way you look at it, whether it's city post or even a video, I know I had captured a contact that I sent to Joel. There's a proposal on there for even videos that could show off a lot of the construction that's going to be happening in 2026 and show kind of what the condition of the city looks like, what we're working on, what we're doing, and try to really sell the city. And I think EDA can get involved with that. But, you know, I asked Lisa Watson from Quick Trip to come into EDA to kind of talk about recruiting. And then I asked Rice County to come in to talk about incentives. Those are two prominent contacts that the EDA could be constantly in contact with to recruit business, especially in our C1, our commercial district. And I would love to see EDA focus on that. As far as the facade program, I think it's a major plus to bring back. I think a lot of the businesses that we try to capture is in that side, that 1960s or older, and trying to help afford, you know, even some of these permits. I know when I campaigned, I talked about rebates on permits. And I think that this kind of absolutely helps with that cost too. you know, a lot of these buildings, they gotta go through code, they gotta go through electrical, they gotta go through plumbing, they gotta go through sewer, they gotta go through ADA compliance. And it's a huge investment, and some of these buildings have been used for storage. I mean, that's something that probably Q1 of next year, we should probably really be talking about, is how do we tackle Main Street and then keep people away from storing it and offering it up for business opportunities, because right now they're turning away business to maintain it as a storage. And that's not what I see Main Street being. So I think we should have a comprehensive view with growth per Brian as a joint EDA council meeting. I know it's kind of hard with EDA being at 7 a.m. and council being at 7 p.m. But I would love the opportunity to go through what we are looking at. So like the next business park, we're having conversations about land, potential land, and what that's gonna look like. And then do we go east, do we go south? You know, these conversations are kind of happening, but nothing's in writing. But we wanna capture, you know, not just the next, you know, 3 years or 5 years, but the next 20, you know, see what that looks like. And then where is our housing side? Where does that go? What does that look like? So there's a lot of opportunity, and I'd like to take that with the joint meeting, but I would love to see that facade program come back. I'd love to see EDA look at recruiting hard for commercial. You know, that's why we have it, essentially. So I think between Brian and Scott, I think you got it on this teeter-totter. Do we do these luncheons? Do we do this social media? And, you know, I credit you guys a lot for trying to turn it around and just lean heavy into, well, this is what the city needs right now. So I do credit you two a lot, and I appreciate the efforts. And hopefully this helps, you know, that you could take it to that meeting too and share what council came out of with this budget meeting.
So I guess as far as the marketing, yeah, that's been discussed at the last couple EDA meetings. I think if there's a new direction, I would recommend that there be some type of RFP created and sent out. So we're just not getting, ooh, this looks good, ooh, this looks good.
Yep.
And it's like not comparing apples to apples, so.
And
You know, whether that's at the council or EDA, you know, this many videos, this many posts, this much that, you know, so it's.
And wasn't that what Bob Scott brought up too, was how much of it is city and how much of it is somebody else, and should we be paying for that? Wasn't that what Bob Scott had mentioned?
There was discussion about that, and honestly, I can see both sides.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, if someone sees a video on our parks and comes here and eats at a restaurant, is that not economic development? You know,
Marketing is always a challenging aspect, because it's not,
Yeah,
results
we-
aren't always tangible.
yeah, we talk about this every,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
every meeting. You know, success to me is a shovel in the ground. That's
Right.
success.
And-
Until then, it doesn't matter.
Right. And there's another thing to be said about it too, is you look at all these businesses in the business park. Well, do you think they're really spending their time going, well, I wonder what the city of Lonsdale posted today, you know? And the fact is that EDA has to really take the effort, because, you know, I'm doing EDA stuff, you know, I'm bringing people to the table, and we're having these discussions on growth and what that looks like. And I would really like to see EDA take the jump and even go to the industrial park and say, hey, you know, do you want to expand? Do you want to grow? Like, you know, what's retention look like? Are we going to be able to retain you? What's your growth plans? You know, have those conversations. We have a dog park on industrial land, you know, 7.7 acres or whatever. You know, what do we look there for? If a business comes in and says, hey, I want to build my giant business there where your dog park is on shovel-ready land, you know, do we look at moving the dog park to an actual park? You know, I just think we need to start getting into having conversations with our business owners again, and they will open up their contacts to you. If there's something you need, they will open up their contacts to you. They've done it for me. That's how we've even had this conversation about this apartment, is because I've sat down with business owners and talked to them about expanding. So, I mean, these people would love to talk to the city. We just got to get out there. And I think that does belong with EDA. you know, it's not just council, you know, we're a team. So I would really like EDA to focus on that. I just don't see it being, hey, it's Thanksgiving, office is closed, you know? I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about this.
It's good. Passion is good. And it's for the growth of the town.
I just know that we haven't spent a lot of time, I mean, we talk about a vision for planning and zoning, you know, we talk about kind of a vision for parks, you know, and we'll get into parks too, but I mean, all these advisory boards, you know, they do need help, you know, so any way that council can share, you know, what their vision is too. I mean, I'm sure this is gonna get taken to EDA, I'm sure some people from EDA might be watching this council meeting, but, you know, we need to make sure that all these advisory boards are right there with us, you know? Not saying they gotta agree with everything we say, but notice, hey, you know, maybe Tom's got a point, or maybe Kari's got a point, or Brian, you know, just get a different aspect of it, so.
Something like for talking about expansion in the land and stuff, I think would be helpful is if we just had like a one pager showing which land is actually available right now. Cause some people, I've talked to a few different businesses just in other areas, and they're like, well, we don't even know what is available, how many acres, like what lot, you know, cause you could dig in and find it, but I think just having something easily accessible, a one pager, and kind of market that, so that people can be like, oh yeah, I want a 6-acre lot for my business, and, you know, just make it more accessible and transparent to people to know what's going on.
I know in the business park we have one.
Yep.
But if there's other
Right.
places, you know, just have something easier access to people who are interested in coming here and establishing a business
Right.
with lot size and things like that.
Well, another thing to keep in mind too is there's a lot of people that come to us that say, I need an existing space, what's available?
Yeah.
And that's where the challenge really comes in, is finding space for medium to small. I mean, the small ones are the real challenge, because, well, there's maybe this place on Main Street, or maybe that place on Main Street, but I don't really know for sure. And that's where I think getting to those conversations with the business owners, and maybe take it a step further to say the property owners in existing spaces, maybe just to say, what's your intention? What are your intentions, and what can we possibly do to help you? Because we get calls, I get calls personally from people saying, I want a space, you know, a storefront or something small, and there's really not a lot of options.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, something that's, I think that's something that we all kind of talk about is commercial space, right? I think we're gonna be doing a market study to see what that yields to, you know, about getting, that's kind of one of the biggest issues we got, is you got Main Street, and you got some of these buildings, and it just seems like people are kind of holding out a little bit, you know, and to get one of these buildings back online, it just, you know, would I rather have built new? I don't know. I don't know what the numbers would pencil out to be. And so when we talk to people that want to build commercial buildings, say for that commercial office space, you know, there's people that are interested. It's just kind of seeing, well, how many office spaces do you need? What is the price for rent going to be? And of course, you know, what is the city willing to do, right? So I think that's going to be something that we need to have a broader discussion on, along with EDA. And, you know, I mean, Joel and I rack our brains around this whole commerce, you know, east of Dollar General, what that's going to look like even, you know? So do we look at somebody that comes in and builds a commercial space for office or whatever it could be? You know, does it look like a strip mall? What does it look like, you know? These are things that we're just starting to have discussions on. I'd love for the EDA to be a part of it too, and that's, you know, any way that they can help recruit too as well. You know, that's kind of where I'm at. And I know you hear it just as well as I do. You know, it's a need. It definitely is. So that's why I think we should really be talking Main Street. And then probably that commercial office space too. You know, those two things. So, hey, if you don't want it in a historical building, you know, why don't you consider over here in a newer office space? That way you could start your business like that, because I feel like we lose people to Faribault, to Watana, Montgomery, Northfield, even New Prague, because you can go out there and you can rent a building and you can move in and then start a business, second week, and then turn it around and go.
And
Like Lonsdale Taqueria is a great example too.
right, and it
You
doesn't
know?
even have to be a whole building, you know? Sometimes it's just a storefront
Right.
that people are looking for.
Yep.
You know,
Well, you
I
know,
mean,
you use the taqueria as an example, but that property prior to that was owned by a gentleman that owned the South 40.
Yep.
He owned what, 4 or 5 buildings on
3 of them.
3 of them, okay.
What was the second one?
He owned,
Or the third one?
the,
Where,
not
something to
consignment.
wear is.
some, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
Something
and,
like
and they sat, you know, empty for
Yeah.
years.
He was actually using one of them as a commercial kitchen
Well, he
for
was using
Three
it-
Rivers.
Yeah, a portion of it though, you know, it was, but, you know, and multiple times the city went to him and said, what can we do I'm doing what I want, you know? It is a slippery slope. 'cause
But
we
you
got-
know, I think, Scott, we can both agree, it was nice to see that, like, when the Scatter Cat did go,
Oh.
and when he finally put it on the market, a company came in just like
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
And that's what I'd like for all those buildings to be.
No,
you
I
know?
agree 100%. It's just the fact is that we gotta be careful because there's property rights. And,
Right.
You know, and that's, you know, people wanna do what they wanna do, and I'm not
But-
happy about it, but that's, if they don't wanna act on it and they want it, leave it sit there, as long as they're compliant with code.
But they aren't though, because the first floor has to be for business, that's how we have the ordinance. So, I mean, I hear ya, it's a
Yeah.
slippery
Well,
slope,
there,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
there is business, you know.
That's why I think
yeah.
we should really
Yeah.
kind of,
No, I
talk
agree.
about it
I
and-
agree. I'm not, believe me, I'm not in favor of vacant or covered windows for storage. Not-
Yeah.
But,
and I've sat down and I've talked with John that on South 40, you know, and he took me on a tour and I appreciate it. It's just, you know, the way that he had bought that building, it's ripped all the way down to the studs. And, well, you can only imagine what the costs are. And I mean, you know, that's why I keep going back to the facade program, because then you got Woody's garage, just north of Lonsdale, Hardware Hanks. And, you know, and there's some issues with that too, because they like to open up a business, but then, you know, it's just trying to get these people back in, and then we sit down and we talk and we just go, okay, what's it gonna take to get you to here?
Yeah.
And just
Well,
add those guidelines.
it boiled down to a restroom.
Yeah, but I kind of even question the restroom, because, I mean, if it's not used for public,
Well, he had to open it to the public.
You have to have one.
why did he have to open the garage to?
The way-
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
get
I don't know,
into it.
that was the thing.
Sorry.
So as far as any business or any property owner, right, you have to have a business owner that's willing to invest the money.
Right.
Even with this facade program, over the years, I've spoken to business owners, they've said, man, I'd love to, improve my facade. But that's not making me money. So I'm gonna invest my funds in my business to what makes me money, you know? I'm sure we'll hear that, and again, on that same point, you have to have building owners that wanna spend the money on it.
Right.
Maybe some don't have it, again, maybe some want to invest in a different portion of their business which will make them money. But unfortunately, no one wants to hear this, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be the city enforcing its code. It's what's gonna get those businesses, those buildings building owners to move. Until that happens, nothing's gonna happen. We can sit and say, pretty please, but until we enforce our code, that's what is gonna get it done. So the city at some point in time is gonna have to take the hard position of, you're not in compliance, it's time.
And I
You know, it's
just
not,
think
you know,
that's,
tomorrow, but,
right,
but
right.
they're, you know, that tough conversation is going to have to be had. That is, from my experience, the only way things get done. You
I
can
mean, my
only-
thing is if you look at some of these people that have owned these buildings, I mean, they've owned them for years. It's not like they just got it yesterday, and I'd hate to see these buildings just go and you push them over and that's it, because we still have the original 3 buildings in the city of Lonsdale, you know? I think, being tough would be it, but, you know, also at the same time, be a little reasonable, because I know that Joe Tupie just bought that Fleet Checks and is trying to remodel it and turn it around, and it takes time, you know, I get that, but show me some effort, please, you know? But I definitely think it's well worth the discussion. We went on a long conversation about Main Street, and, but I mean, that is part of our economic development, right? And so I do want to touch on that commercial space relatively soon as well. What we could probably make happen and where it's going to go and what we're kind of looking at. So that can be in a different budget meeting or work session, whatever we choose. So that's what I got for EDA. Anybody have anything else they want to say? Scott? Brian?
No, I'm good.
Kari, Jamie?
Ask me after Thursday.
Maybe
Yeah.
next week or.
Well, I
Another
knew-
council meeting next week, we'll talk more after that.
well, I wish you luck.
Oh, it'll be fine. All
Yeah.
meetings are fine.
Yep. All right, Parks.
Hey.
Spend that money.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Getting into parks, City Administrator and I sat down, and we went line by line. Tonight, we can talk, we got revenues, expenses, and then a couple of big capital outlay items. The revenues, we have the property tax levy, the state grant for the Snow Wizards, LGA, refunds and reimbursements. We get a compost site reimbursement from the county, insurance dividend, cable telephone franchise fees. Earlier this week, staff received a letter from T-Mobile providing the city notice that they are terminating our lease for their equipment on the city's water tower. The attorney was sent the information to make sure they met the requirements to terminate the lease and next steps. In 2025, the city received $37,922 from this lease. The city has 2 leases for cell tower items at the water tower and 2 south of the water tower. As of now, there is no transfer proposed from the liquor store to the park fund. It's to be determined based on liquor store budget. For expenses, we have training and education, Safe Assure, and tree school, which there are 2 licensed tree inspectors. Repairs and maintenance, it's general items, field paint and field chalk are the big ones. The paint is every year, the chalk is a new one this year. About 5 years ago, City of Prior Lake gave us a couple pallets of chalk and we're out, so.
So if any other cities want to donate chalk, bring it on in.
The landscaping materials, those are things for Main Street flowers, welcome sign flowers, flower bed mulch, and replacement trees. Professional services, we have our copier, Cintas, tech support of Minnesota, RPZ testing, grinding trees at the compost site. The council should consider a discussion on the compost site operations. Whether we establish hours of operations or we staff it. We do have a security camera, the PD does patrol the site. However, it's impossible to have a police officer at the compost site. I would say of my phone calls that I yield, I would say at least 50% of them are about the compost site. If people can dump there, what they can dump there. And Jason knows just as well as I do, there's people sneaking in there all the time. I know, Mr. Mayor, you've mentioned in the past after a council meeting or wherever it was, maybe we talked to townships. I did think about that. I don't think our site is big enough to open it to anybody else but the city of Lonsdale. And I don't know, I guess without talking to them, I don't know, if that maintenance program, if they're willing to contribute, but, it's $14,000 a year for us if we can get by with one grinding. And you add the compost and everything, I mean, it's definitely worth a discussion. Fencing, staffing, hours of operation. I really encourage the residents of Lonsdale, if you're paying a water bill and you're a resident of the city of Lonsdale, help Public Works out, help the police out, if you see something, say something, I'm not asking them to address the violators themselves, but just report it. We certainly don't want to incur any more expenses, and I don't think we want it to go the way of the cardboard dumpsters either. So I think we need to get a plan in place on how the council thinks that we should move forward. The other professional service we have is tree removal. This is reserved for large trees that would affect power lines or private property. In meetings with the staff, we just don't feel the need to entertain anything that could fall through somebody's house. So we leave that to the pros. Correct.
I have a bunch of trees to remove behind.
The rentals, we have porta potties. Next year is our last year of our contract that we have with our current porta potty supplier. They're doing amazing. And then just equipment, whether it's stump grinders or edgers and tampers, there's just an array of things. Grants, we have the Snow Wizards, recreation, city cost participation for TCU's summer rec program, and then to the capital outlay, we have a Pronavos 60-inch front mount snow blower. The cost of that unit is $12,500. Last winter, we had a John Deere 60-inch heavy-duty front mount snow blower. It went out of service past the point of repair. That snow blower was a 2017, and staff has always kind of joked around that we got the homeowner edition, and so it's been excellent. It is, that snow off of Highway 19, that's its primary job, and that is wet, heavy, nasty snow at all times. So it served very well. However, without that piece of equipment, our current level of winter maintenance cannot be sustained. We would have to adjust our operations for Highway 19 sidewalks for sure. And then we just need something that's small enough to do sidewalks along Main Street South without damaging boulevards and right-of-way. I would be happy to bring you guys staff reports. I got pricing on it for the next council meeting to get approval to at least order this year. These are kind of the cream of the crop of the market. So every city's buying them. This attaches to the front of our 1585 John Deere lawnmower with the cab, which I'm also proposing to replace. The one we have now is a 2019, and all the attachments that we have currently would work. So we have a mower deck, which would obviously come with. We have a broom, we have a plow, snow plow blade, and this snow blower. Before the trade-in, the purchase price for the mower deck, and the snow blower is $61,205. The trade-in for our 1585 is right around $17,000 for a cost to the city of $44,201. That is the blower, the mower, and the tractor itself. So depending on how we act on the snow blower, what we do in 25 would affect the budget for 26. The park improvements, recent park board meetings, we have discussed using $30,000 as a budgetary number for park improvements in 2026. The last park board meeting, we identified 2 possible park improvements. One is the Veterans Memorial, the other is the J.C. Park. Veterans Memorial has taken the lead. There are 2 options there. We have a 30 paver addition option and a 60 paver addition option. 14,240, 28,680. One's just double the other. Those numbers do not include the ribbon and the footing and the everything to set up those pavers. After that park meeting, it was discussed, an email was sent out by Councilmember Miller here to recommend the 30 pavers and make necessary repairs to the raised planters. I don't think the repairs means $14,000 rebuilding everything. I think it's a staff, we take them down, we put them back together, maybe get some new ridge cap blocks. We had a similar project at the old city hall, I don't know, 5 years ago, something like that. Talking with Joel, I won't be the most popular guy in the crew when that project comes up, but it's definitely something that we can do. So I just want you guys to know that it's not some giant expense.
Okay, good.
They're not in shambles. It's just coming apart a little bit.
And really quick, just so that everybody else knows, right now why we need the paver additions is because we only have 2 blank ones left of our current one. And so we need to look ahead and make sure we have availability for the addition, which was planned out with the original layout of Veterans Memorial Park. So that's where we're at.
Yes, thank you, Kari. The second option for park improvement was the J.C. Park. Not gonna spend a lot of time on this. The reason the Vets Park took the lead in priorities is because there are only 2 available stones, as Council Member Miller just stated. And in order to make the improvements that I recommend and deem necessary down at the J.C. Park, I would rather have that full 30,000 to go at it so that we can get concrete and blacktop around the areas we need. I presented to the park board, same to you as the council here. We are not in any violation of ADA codes. This pavement improvement around the concession stand would make both bathrooms ADA compliant. Right now, one of them is ADA compliant. So there's nothing in violation as of now. I just want the council to understand kind of how we were creating our priorities for these projects here. As I stated earlier, the compost grinding is $14,000. That you guys will have coming here for 25, probably at the next council meeting. And then the repairs and maintenance is $35,000. That was up from $33,000 for the paint and chalk that's coming up this year. If you guys have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
All right, thank you, Joe. Scott, you got anything?
On the mower snow blower combo, where were we in the life cycle? Was this a scheduled item, or is this just we're getting to that point where we need to do it?
So I am not aware of a cycle that was set, or a life cycle that was set up by the previous public works director. I can tell you from my experience of running this mower does not stop. It goes all summer and all winter, and it is at the 5-year mark. And it's time.
Okay.
So as far as schedule, that is a goal of mine, is to create especially for the mowers and equipment replacement schedule, so that we are getting mowers that are always in warranty, because it is always our we just had to fix the WAM. It was out of warranty for 2.5 months, and it's just,
Of course.
I want to avoid that. So
Okay. I just couldn't remember if that was but you know, if we got that long and been lucky so far, it makes sense.
Those have been fantastic mowers. The cab, we had Kubotas a long time ago. These John Deeres, I mean, you could plow snow in that thing all day long in a t-shirt. And just for the use of the sidewalks and the trails, just in my experience being here, you know, it's a good thing to say. It's just kind of it's a weird aspect of it when you think of essential equipment for snow. It's not always just the streets. Pedestrian traffic is just as important, and this has become just as important of a key as a snowplow or the payloader. So,
Thank you.
All right, Brian?
So you could plow all winter long in a t-shirt. I think you need to come to my house every snowfall and prove that. Plow my driveway until I believe it. No, I'm just kidding.
Every snowfall.
So this would fall then in the parks budget, this type of equipment, or is that spread kind of parks and public works?
traditionally it has been in the parks.
Okay.
I talked with Joel about, you know, hey, could we possibly put some of it on streets? I mean, at the end of the day, they're both non-enterprise funds.
Right.
And that sidewalk system, the reason we plow it in the first place is because it's all linked to our trail system. So
Yeah, okay.
it's really not streets.
And I'm just making sure I understand that it's 100% in parks, so.
Yeah.
But you said you're coming to a council meeting with this proposal, right? So
For the snow blower at least. So
Okay.
we have to have a snow blower. And I just want to be able to, I'm not saying we have to buy it. I'll present the options to you guys, but I would at least like to get the approval to put an order in, so I for sure have one January 2nd. We can alter our operations for November, December, but we need to have this.
Right. Tom, wasn't there was a grant we were talking about recently?
Oh, for Main Street?
No, I don't think it was Main Street. Katie brought it up.
Oh,
At the parade.
the Southern Initiative,
Was it a
$10,000?
Smith grant? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did we ever apply for that?
I don't think we ever brought it up.
I thought we had a very limited window, and I know we had kind of talked about that, where it's one of those deals where I think we need to keep an eye out for grants like that, where if we can use them for anything, like the J.C. Park, then knock off a couple at one time and save ourselves on a future budget.
40,000 sounds like a good start at a parking lot.
There was
Yeah,
something,
there's that.
And we talked about the small town grant from Smith at the
yeah,
park board meeting.
Okay.
yep,
But that, we did apply for that several years ago and were awarded 10,000 with TCU to look at how do we connect the three communities via a trail. So we were successful in getting that, but what they're looking for, and I haven't glanced over before the park board meeting, but looking for, you know, projects that bring the community together, volunteering, inclusion. I don't see a snow blower doing that.
Oh, no, I was talking about for the J.C. Park. We could get them out there and they can all help pour concrete or asphalt. I mean, that's, you know, we'll cook up some hot dogs like we do at the library.
What do you do?
some-
What do you
Yeah.
do in the future?
yeah.
Come down to the JC Park.
Would you like to park on a flat surface? Now's your opportunity to make that happen. So, yeah. There was something else that I had in mind here. We can talk about Snowgate with the streets project, or the streets budget. I know how much you like to hear about Snowgate. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. I thought I had one more.
Okay.
But I can't remember.
Kari?
Joe, thank you for your awesome job that you and all of Public Works does for us. I mean, it's just awesome. If you drive around and you can tell that everybody takes pride in their job of making the parks look good and the trails look good, and in the winter making sure things are plowed, and So I really appreciate it. I know a lot of people appreciate it. So, and I know sometimes you hear a lot of complaints. So I'm sorry about that. but I think you guys do a great job. And again, going back to at our Parks Board meeting, we did talk about trying to prioritize a project so we could check it off the list. And that's why we were looking at finalizing and getting the 2 sets of pavers. I know it's $28,000. It's a lot of money, but if we can get the foundation or the fountain fixed and the planters fixed and get the pavers, I think that would be great, because then we can just be done and we can promote people getting those the memorial pavers. And then long-term too, we were talking about adding shuffleboard and some other stuff at JC when we redo the blacktop and concrete. So there are some other amenities coming up, but that'll take place down the road, long-term. And then we are still looking into grants for fitness equipment at parks, upgrading some park equipment too. I know some people have reached out about that, and then recently there was a post on happenings about our parks being outdated. I know that there are some opportunities that we are looking into, but that it will be more of a long-term budget thing because we already have things tied up for 26. So, but just so that people know, we do hear you, we see you, and we want to keep hearing things so that we know kind of what direction you want us to take. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Jamie?
Joe, did you look into the cost of chalk versus paint? I know the reason we have that chalk from Prior Lake is they went to all paint and eliminated chalk.
Your playing surface is what really dictates that. So in Prior Lake, I don't think their egg lime is as loose as ours.
All right.
Not recently, but when we first got the chromer, that's what I thought. We could just paint it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a leaf blower. It just spreads out. It doesn't work. I wish it did. I don't know if they have more of a clay, like, there's different egg limes, like there's different ones for the, if you go to the Trenda field, it's different around home plate and the pitcher's mound than it is where the shortstop plays. That makes any sense. It's like more of a dense clay. So I don't know if that's what they got going down their baselines that allows them to paint. But shooting from the hip here, the best I can tell you, the chalk is like $10 a bag. I don't know if
It's still sitting there. I'm not sure on the current price. But I can
He could tell you the
Call me
item number
tomorrow.
though.
yeah. So, and with the price of paint and the availability of paint, I know I've talked to Kari a couple times about some different soccer options. Paint is just a fortune since COVID. I don't know why, and it's hard to get. So, I think the best way is to keep going with chalk.
All right.
And, you know, that's a discussion that maybe needs to be had too. Maybe we just deem the city's responsibility as paint only, and if these organizations want chalk, then they're responsible themselves. It would save them money, save us time. But I know it's the thing that guys really take pride in and enjoy doing as well is, I mean, it's from May to probably mid-July, it's just about every single day that field is being, I should say both fields are being used.
So, is 19's, Highway 19's mill and overlay with the sidewalks still kind of queued to happen?
We haven't had discussions with MnDOT on that project in a long time. It seems like it keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah.
I think Highway 19 from 35 to 3 in Northfield or towards Northfield is going to get done here in the late 20s. The last I heard, Highway 19 from 13 east through town to 35 was early 2030s.
Okay. So, and that's sidewalks north and south of 19, right? all the way down to 35?
We did look, when they were doing the planning preliminarily, we did do an ADA walk of the sidewalks in town and some connections that, I recommended be included, but that was just, in town.
Okay. And then we would be responsible for the sidewalks, right?
I would anticipate some type of cost share agreement.
Okay.
Yep.
So, you talk about sidewalks. I think it's gonna be important to make sure you got a John Deere that's gonna work for it.
Absolutely.
So, and that's gonna be quite a bit. That's gonna be quite a bit of workload on you guys.
You know, I think people would be surprised at how many sidewalks we do now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a major part of
Yep.
the snow. I mean, one guy is sidewalks and hockey rinks.
Yep.
And that right there is the same amount it takes me to plow the north. You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot.
So, I wanted to bring that up so we can probably have a discussion, might need some winter hires. So if Eli and Joe come back and,
Yeah, that would, I mean, we're absolutely open to discuss it.
but that would be
It's-
so, that would be
it's-
down
that's
the
a
road,
tricky
but
one.
anyway. One thing I do wanna ask is, did you guys end up doing an apron around the bathrooms at JC?
We have done nothing to the
Okay.
pavement yet.
Now, is this, are you guys willing to do just a little apron?
So
around
my,
that?
my goal would be is a minimum of 5 feet around the entire concession stand. On the west side, north side, and south side, it's all okay. It's the east side that I don't know if that looks like a railing and a ramp, because the elevation of that door versus the pavilion, I mean, it's probably 2.5 feet difference in 20 feet. So I don't think we'll be able to just go around the outside and then pave it all without having,
Cause I'm just thinking about that little lip there.
that's to be eliminated. That's the goal of all of this.
Right.
The threshold
And
lip.
I know we had talked about it before, trying to hit it all in one run, and I kind of sit and think, well, if we're budgeting for the Veterans Memorial for next year, you know, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at, is can you just put like a Band-Aid on it? Just so then that lip isn't there?
Oh, yes, absolutely, that can be done. I think the reason why I wanted to switch the priorities is because I don't want to go a little bit,
Right.
a little bit, a little bit.
Want it all
I
done in
like
one
the
run.
shock and awe factor, you know, Kalina Park, when we did the boardwalk and the disc golf course and everything there, and we just kind of put all our eggs in one basket. It felt really good at the end to just have a whole new amenity. And when we identify these projects like this, I think that's, in my opinion, that's the best way to attack them. There's gonna be some years where, hey, this 30,000, we do need this, and this.
Yeah, Joe, I trust you. I just remember that little lip there.
Yes.
And that was the only thing I was worried about with changing priorities a little bit.
Yeah.
And-
Compliance is important no matter what. So, that is definitely something that can be addressed. The reason the range in the price of all that work was because ramp or no ramp, you know, railing versus no railing.
Right, yeah.
But confident in our abilities to maintain ADA compliance for 26. So
Yeah. So one thing I do want to bring up, because I brought this up to staff, kind of in the beginning of the year, was T-Mobile actually has a, hometown grant program. It's up to $50,000. And it's usually towards, Main Street improvements. And this is what I was talking about originally. And then somehow people said something totally different. On record, no, I don't want to rip up the Veterans Memorial. That's what was said. My thing is the sandbox that's next to the Veterans Memorial. In my honest opinion, I think that should be looked at something else because my family has pulled feces out of that sandbox, and then we had to turn around and walk away because we're not going to let our kids play in it. That's nothing to be said about public works. That's just to clear the air here. But I never once ever said I wanted to rip up the Veterans Memorial, and shame on whoever's starting that rumor. But the hometown grant is what I was using to apply for that. It's a $50,000 grant, which I think could really help you with this Veterans Memorial out, especially if they're pulling out of a lease. I think that's something that could be brought around too when you apply for it, or if you apply
Okay.
for it.
Yeah.
With them pulling out of the lease, and are they removing their equipment then from the tower?
I'm gonna have to defer to Joel on that. I don't know all the
90 days
details.
to do that.
And then how is that gonna impact people who have T-Mobile in this area? Like, do they have,
I don't know what their plan is.
I'm kind of scared.
I am too, because I have T-Mobile, so, and I know other people do too, so I'm a little concerned.
In,
Did they upgrade anything when they were going to 5G a couple years ago? Or did they just leave that tower alone?
they did not do anything.
So
They
they're probably
submitted
switching
plans,
towers.
they were reviewed, but they never proceeded with that project. So, since it is such a large dollar amount and we're dependent on that for to offset a property tax levy, I did reach out to the city attorney just to have him take a look at it and make sure everything was on the up and up and, if anything else, buy us a year if they missed the date or something like that.
Yeah,
And they seem confident that we should be good for 26. It'll be 27 when the funding is gone. I just had that conversation here today. So I do plan on budgeting that amount.
So that's in 27 that lease is
done, they'll,
completely
They
done.
provided, well, the lease is gonna be done November 30th of 2025.
but we'll still get funds for
Yes, the
26.
termination clause, yep.
Okay.
Language in there.
Did they say why they're removing it?
No, they don't elaborate. They just say we're terminating the lease. We'll
Rude.
comply with the
Well, they got that.
termination agreement and be done.
They're switching to satellite.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's their big marketing push right now is their,
Thanks, Elon.
Yeah, Starlink, here we go.
It better be cheaper, I tell you that
all
much.
the commercials right now are talking about satellite, so that's what's happening.
All right, T-Mobile, you better show up.
I was gonna ask, are we gonna maybe try to reach out to anybody else to see if we can get some other provider to?
Oh, we can.
lease it? I mean, it's worth a shot, just throw it out there, I mean,
That's a pretty significant amount.
Basically, what, AT&T? I'm sure there's other
AT&T.
smaller
yeah, I mean,
entities out there, but
yeah, well, most of those other ones lease off of the big guys
Exactly.
anyway, so.
Verizon,
T-Mobile,
Sprint,
AT&T.
AT&T.
Reach out to Elon, see what
the other one.
airspace.
Who bought Sprint? Was it Verizon?
I think they-
AT&T, I think.
No, they bought DirecTV,
I'm not sure then.
yeah. Anyways, it's basically the three, so we got two to go to, and, I mean, if they say no, they say no, but we're never gonna know if we don't ask, right?
Yeah, and we did have we do have a lease with Verizon on the second tower that's out there. That was the other lease that Joe was talking
Okay.
about. And we actually had, for several years, had an agreement with Verizon. They were gonna construct their own tower. And they paid us like $2,000 a month for like 4 years, and then terminated the agreement.
I mean,
They poured concrete and everything, and
Yep.
just tore it all right back out.
Wow,
Put a building up instead.
yeah.
I remembered my questions that I.
Go ahead.
The problem is we have two different sheets and they're divided by liquor store in here, so it screwed me up. With the porta potties, were we able to reduce the number by at least one with the remodel at J.C. Park of the
Yes.
bathrooms? So that's reflected already?
I have not received even one phone call.
Okay, so that, we've already done that for this year, so that doesn't change from 25 to 26 in the.
As far as it doesn't affect the lease. The lease just locked in our prices. I mean,
Okay.
we've gone from, I think it started at 9, I think it was as high as 11 at one point. And I think we're at 10 right now.
Okay,
Peter is fantastic to work with. Like I said, he doesn't care. He'll care if we go down to 2, but, you know.
right.
Our main parks, they'll all be there, and with the new bathroom,
Yeah.
we were able to get rid of one, so that's been great.
Okay. The last, I don't know if it's really a question, but one of the things I think I would like to see the park board explore is the possibility of recruiting tournaments, whether they be baseball, softball, soccer, whatever. Because I see that as a potential revenue stream. I mean, all the work that you guys do, and I mean, our fields are amazing. They're beautiful, especially now that we've got this new scoreboard that we just put in. I think that's a selling point that we can use to attract some of these tournaments. But, you know, I think we look at it as an option. We stay open. We've got a concession stand. So, you know, there's the potential for them to get some revenue generation off of leasing our park space and using our concession stand. I would like to see more of that happen, because really, you know, those tournaments are great for communities because the restaurants do well. You know, I mean, the Legion's looking for ways to generate new revenue too. I mean, I think this could help the Legion out, because you get a tournament in town, you're gonna have 2 really busy restaurants, or you're gonna have 3 busy restaurants. You know what I mean? 2 overwhelmed or 3 fully packed, you know, that kind of a deal. That's the way I see it. So, you know, 1, it can be a revenue stream for the city. 2, definitely it can be a boost for the restaurants. Well, I mean, I should say 3, you know, we got the taqueria too. I mean, there's potential for all of them to be really boosted by tournaments in town. So I would like to see that be a thing that the park board maybe takes a look at for next year.
I know for sure, because I'm part of the TCU soccer club, not the school one, but the travel club that we just started up this year. We did talk about jamborees or little day tournaments and things like that from the soccer end of things. Not sure about baseball, softball, but I'm definitely interested in that too. And then I also thought it would be cool if we could get more adult leagues to play again, just rec, because I know they play in Northfield. There's some in New Prague, you know, and I know there was a ladies softball team from Lonsdale that was playing Monday nights or something in Northfield last year. But I would love to have more of that kind of stuff. And the Legion used to sponsor baseball teams, and you know, I just would love to see that grow.
I mean,
So I'm on the
there's
same
even
page.
adult kickball leagues now.
Yeah. So I think there is a ton of opportunity, and I thank you for bringing it up, because I definitely would love to add that to a big discussion on the parks. And
Well, you know, it's a good way to kind of help offset some of these big projects that I know have been talked about quite a bit. And,
definitely.
you know, we have this wish list, but it's kind of like, you know, a teenager's Christmas list, where you got to look at it and go, wow, yeah, those things would be really cool to have if I was Bill Gates,
Yep.
you know.
Right, and I mean,
So I'm
I've
not the
talked
only one.
about, yeah. Another idea that I brought up at parks that we're exploring, it takes time to coordinate and plan all these things, but like a fall art festival, there's a lot of towns that do that, and then just have the vendors pay a fee, you know, and things like that, so they're.
Food truck festival. I
Yeah,
mean,
food
lots of-
trucks, like, we've talked about a lot of these things, but it's kind of like now we need to get to the point where we're actually planning and getting things going.
We're gonna have to start another committee, Kari.
I know, I'm sorry.
Well, and that kind of gets into, is that really our role to organize a men's softball league?
No,
I mean,
but-
there was an extremely robust softball league here, and it just,
It-
it takes that
It's
group of
huge.
guys.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
Right.
saying
You
we
know.
organize it, I'm saying we
Promote it as an,
we invite them to take a look at our facilities and our fields and say, this would be a great place for you to pay a rent payment to have a tournament. You know, that's what I'm saying.
and
I was
maybe,
gonna hit on the same thing that Joel hit. They go hand in hand. You get a league here, the tournaments come. Without a league,
yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Unless if the coaches for these other, you know, hey, let's have an invitation. But as far as the city trying to promote that, I don't see that creating a lot of steam when there's not a league.
Right.
Public Works guys should start playing some softball.
Get some city stuff.
Yeah, there we go.
That's why we had to quit,
Yeah.
because we just kept dominating.
We'll do, well, you haven't played this council yet.
And police and fire could have,
I'll be the manager. He's
game
the
and-
fat guy who sits in the dugout and just watches, right?
Yeah.
Kick some dirt at the ump.
Yeah.
Never has to run.
no, I like the ideas, and I think it's good to just have it out there.
Definitely.
Future goals.
Yeah, you know, it was so unfortunate. Joel just said that robust softball league. You know, I was part of it. Joel's part of it. It was absolutely a blast on Wednesday nights, and we got to the point with the JC Park. I think it was like 2011, something like that. Hey, let's put that 20-foot fence in the outfield to protect field 2, and let's get that field 2 pavilion done, and let's get some asphalt and new drinking fountains,
Drain
and
tile.
drain tile the whole field system, and we literally get it done and get the grass to grow. And it's like, well, we're done.
No, bring it
no.
back.
Yeah,
Bring
it
it
was
back.
literally that next year.
But there's those, like, the traveling leagues, the younger kids, you know, it's
Yeah.
not all just the adult stuff. I mean, if
Yep.
we get the adults, great, but the real, I mean, drive down by any of the parks in Lakeville in the summertime and look at the.
Oh,
look at the
100%.
Number of people and
Yep.
families, and I mean,
They have,
They're
like, their
all-
city has like a whole department for planning, coordinating with these clubs. So
Oh,
like
yeah, I'm
Lakeville
sure.
Soccer Club works very closely and they plan all this whole thing out for their Fall Cup and Father's Day Cup. So my long-term vision for the town is to have somebody employed running these things, working together with these organizations so that we're utilizing all of our facilities
Yep.
and bringing in that money to help offset tax levy stuff, so, I don't know,
yep.
big dreams.
One thing is, can we talk about the compost site a little bit more?
Sure.
So, I kind of look at it, let me load this thing back up, oh my gosh. I feel like a boomer.
If you did put like fencing and have it staffed, would that affect the archery range?
Absolutely, yeah, we talked about
Yep.
that.
Well, I guess, have we seen any results of putting the camera up there? Has that helped?
So we're trying to get a hold of, so we got, the issue that we're having is Vercada's gotta come out and they've gotta switch our camera because we got the same camera at the JC Park and I can tell what color of t-shirt Gary Skolzacek puts on. And the same one at the compost site can't get a clear license plate for these guys. So we're working on getting Vercada out there to see what is going on. We've been told it's the cell phone service card, you know, it's just, all right.
Was it
you know,
T-Mobile? Sounds like that might be a
I
problem.
don't think it's T-Mobile, but I actually just met with the chief about this last Thursday or Friday, something like that, and I told him, enough's enough, we got 15 grand into this thing, not nice anymore.
No.
No.
Time to get down here.
Because
and
we
get
just bought it,
working.
it's brand new.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, because we're talking about potentially having a position for it. And I don't know what that position would kind of look like. I mean, I know we got our police that, I see Jason almost every time I go down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does a great job.
But there's a better.
Does he
use
make
of
you
their
bring things
time.
back home?
Well, I don't, that stuff stays at home, right?
Well, if you quit dumping tires up there, you won't see the chief all the time.
No, that's not true. So my thing is what does that position kind of look like and what are we looking for here? Because, I can tell you right now, I don't know how much work they could do there where it would be like a full-time position. And then also we're talking about after they finish a shift, then it's open game after they leave. So, my thing is do we figure out the camera thing and really start putting a heavy fine on those that end up bringing stuff in that shouldn't be there. Like, I think everybody in their family went there and took a picture with a giant pumpkin.
I didn't.
Yep.
I missed the giant pumpkin.
Oh,
So
you
I
missed
think that's an important thing to discuss in the fee schedule. We brought this up when we bought that camera, that is the fine $50 for illegal dumping? Something like that?
I'd
You
make
can
it,
write me 5 tickets then.
yeah, I would encourage that to be higher, and
So,
honestly,
all of the people that we get quotes from for grinding the piles, we're not alone in this struggle with compost sites and whatever. The only thing that worked for them is there are cities out there that are making these fines $1,000.
yeah.
Like, we're not playing around anymore.
And I'm fine with that. I absolutely am. Honestly, I wished, you know, I mean, this even goes back to the recycling conversation. It's, you know, I would have loved to have been trying to figure that out, you know, even with
Yeah.
a sizable fine, and then just say, hey, you're not gonna come in here and throw your trash here, you know, especially if you don't live here. I think it's in the residents and business owners' best interest if we do propose a larger fine and we actually carry it out, and there's no, I'll let it slide this time. No, it's right then and there. You know, get the word out. Oh, they're fining.
The hard part is, if we're gonna compare it to the cardboard dumpsters, they're two totally different animals. First thing is, there's confusion out there where the sign says city residents or Lonsdale residents only. So we switched the sign to say city residents only. People still just have this, well, I have a Lonsdale address. And it's really, if you're getting a water bill, that's when you're allowed to dump there.
They know they're not city residents.
They do, but those are the things
That's
that
the
we're
cop
talking
out.
about all the time. And then, you know, just from an expense part to the city, fence and an employee, those are very large expenses.
Yep.
They are very large expenses. And I can tell you from when the compost site was down at Stika Park, don't think you're getting 20 years out of that fence. You know, things are dumped and pushed and this and that, and it just kind of. So we've got some work to do to get it going. The hard part is, you know, it's really the amount of stuff we're getting. People, since that compost site has moved up there, the cooperation and the cleanliness of what people, I mean, you're always gonna have some people that dump plastic bags and things like that. But we're really not getting fridges and tires and pickup toppers and things like we used to. So I do commend the people and appreciate that effort. And like I said, I yield a lot of phone calls about it. But it's just so hard to close off the archery range and close it off at night, because we know how hard it is if you have to throw a couch away at Rice County landfill. It's like you have to take a half a day off of work to get there to do it. I don't really want to create that situation with our compost site.
I don't either, and I agree with you, and I think that's why we go back to the fee schedule, and then we get this camera all figured out, and kind of go from there and monitor it, see how it goes. But you know, I know a lot of people, a lot of residents take a lot of pride in that compost site too, and I don't want to take it away from them. You know, people that I see it all the time. I'm there all the time, and they'll pull right up to the piles, and then I'll see them struggle. I'll get out and I'll help them, and then you know, even with me myself, it's, you know, and I know Public Works puts a lot of effort into that place to keep it clean, and I love the archery range there. It's a really well-used amenity. So, and it's not even just that. People park up there and then they walk down to go to the fishing pier. So I just don't see in the best interest of the city to put a fence around it, put a gate on it. I don't see it there. I just would like to nip it in the butt when when we start figuring this stuff out. But I feel your pain in this, I really do. But I thank all of you guys for your efforts in maintaining that. I know Scott loves getting onto that truck and pushing stuff around.
He takes a lot of pride in that compost. The thing for everybody that's listening out there, the cleaner the material you bring, the better compost you get. All of that compost that's up there, that's free to the residents. Plant your gardens, supplement your yards, flower beds or flower pots. I mean, it's great stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those lead by example things that's actually working. It's the volume, and it's mostly the brush.
Yeah.
The compost, we can get rid of that. We can maintain that ourselves. It's the brush that we don't have the equipment to do it.
Yeah, I saw the giant stump, and when I see those stumps, I kind of...
Wonder how it got there? Yeah. Wonder how it got there?
I would love to watch the camera footage.
We had one a couple years ago.
We lifted the back end of our loader up.
Our loader was not able to move it.
Oh my gosh,
That's how big it was.
wow.
I'm not kidding.
Reverse and hit the brakes and hope, pray like heck to stay off.
So I don't know, it must have been one of those big loaders like what they have at the Cargill salt mines or something, because
Yeah.
Scott went up to move it and it just went.
Yeah. So I do hear you guys on that, and I've thought about it before. It's like, well, do we get a chipper up there? Do we start chipping? But
Those are things we've all really
Yeah.
weighed heavy on. I can't speak to like a premium or whatever. It's just a chipper is a pretty dangerous piece of equipment to have. To just go
Hey, throw your stuff in there.
nonchalantly think it's just, get in the routine of something.
I wouldn't put that in the hands of residents. I would say it's
No, not residents, but for public works, so we get a chipper, well now, that goes from Scott to a 3-man operation, type of a.
right.
I'm not saying it's out of the
But
possibility.
when we talk about, when I say chipper, it's, so most of these compost sites that I went through when I was doing tree cutting, it was these giant trippers. Well, they're already on a rail. So what they do is they just start putting all this in that chipper, and then it would load it up into those rail cars. And that's why I'm kind of like, well, it doesn't really seem that feasible, because we don't have rail cars to load. And then the incinerator up in the cities, that's
Shut
gone
down.
for a while.
Yep.
So, I don't know how long SMSC is gonna be taking it on. I don't know what their plans are when they do that.
Hopefully
So-
long, because they do a great job. I'm not saying we wouldn't be having this conversation, but it'd be a totally different conversation if that incinerator was still going.
Yeah,
Because that
Big
was, we'd be getting this done for half the price.
yep.
So you're saying we need to build an incinerator?
Then we need to start taking our mulch again.
They're sitting on so many rail cars
Yeah.
full, and it's, actually, the state started coming out with grants where they said, okay, stop sending your stuff over here. We'll give you a grant to get a sawmill, and you can start slabbing up some of these big logs that you got, and it's definitely interesting. But yeah, Joe, I hope this kind of helps you with direction for the short term, and hopefully the extended term. I hope it doesn't become a bigger problem for you, but let's start with that. Let's see where it goes.
Absolutely.
And then, just let us know, hey, it's been going out of hand again, and for a couple of weeks or whatever it may be. But I know that since that storm that came through, man, there was a lot of, I think that was the most packed I've ever seen that.
Which is to be expected, but
Driving around the stump.
I know
wasn't
Jason's
fun.
turned a few away from that storm. I know Public Works, my guys have turned a few away from the storm. It's like when you got somebody dragging a giant maple tree from Garfield coming south, it's like, I'm sorry, man, but you're gonna have to turn. Oh, this is not for you. But it's, you drive around the countryside, the amount of dead trees with this emerald ash borer, I mean, it's
Yeah.
huge. It's huge. And, get the camera figured out, get some signage. Signage has been helping. We've improved it.
Do
just
you
make
have a
everything
size
more clear.
requirement?
Yes.
It's written on there?
Not diameter, size, length. It can only be 36 inches long.
Oh, no, I'm in violation. I'm sorry, Joel.
Tom.
It's not an issue.
that's
The
okay.
length isn't an issue until you start getting
You're right.
the
So,
trunks.
so I think define diameter, is it 3, is it 4, or can you go up to like 8, and maybe we can look at putting that on the sign as well when you come in,
Yes.
and hopefully that'll help too. That's just my recommendation. I think that's probably the big thing too, is because people see compost site and they see logs in there already, and let's just throw it all in there.
It's kind of one of those things where it's good, and just like you said, oh, I saw one, so what's the harm if mine? And all of a sudden it just goes,
Right,
just explodes.
right, yep,
So, it's, unfortunately, I'm gonna throw that brush pile right in the same category as biosolids, my favorite things to do. So, they're just those things, that we just have to keep close attention to, and it is what it is. You can overthink, and you just gotta,
yeah, bite the bullet,
just kinda, it is what it is.
yeah, okay. And then everybody's okay with the Veterans Memorial? Does that answer your questions, Kari?
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Anybody else have anything they want to add? Brian?
I assume we're gonna come back to the capital improvement stuff when Jason's here.
I guess if we wanna.
I just saw it on here,
Yeah, no, that's just kind of I
template,
hate to say like a living document, but, from the last couple of years, and
Yeah.
did incorporate the planning that the library did, I believe, at their June 4th
Yep,
meeting
yep, I
earlier
saw
this
that too.
year.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I got nothing else.
Kari?
I got nothing else.
Jamie?
Nothing.
Scott?
Nothing.
Joel?
not for this meeting. We've got a budget meeting coming up, I believe, on the 9th and then the 22nd September.
2 questions I do gotta ask. What is going on with Excel? Are they done with their project?
Yep.
For the lease agreement?
As far as I know, do they just have a
Like there's a lull
lull
sitting
over
there?
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw him last week moving stuff out of there.
Yeah, and I don't remember seeing the altar in there when I was driving by it. Okay. And then, wasn't it budgeted for the historical school to be painted this year?
It was, correct.
And then we didn't do it, or,
It has not been done, no.
okay.
Are you sure, Joel? I thought it was
Didn't we do part of it?
24 and we took that to get.
I'd have to double check, but I'm
Something.
pretty sure was budgeted for 15. I'm sorry, for 25.
And then we took that out for bid and Nick Slavic got it, right? Or we asked Nick to do it?
I got prices, yeah, and they ranged anywhere from $14,000 to $50,000.
Yeah, I think what you had told me before was, it was the wood itself.
Correct.
Scraping the paint off.
Yeah.
Well,
So
here's where the
last time-
community thing comes in, where we all get together and scrape and paint.
They had
Yay.
a really hard time finding replacement boards for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can definitely tell where the new boards is.
Yeah.
Or the new boards are, excuse me. The paint actually sticks to those. So, It almost seems to be a, unless we're just gonna put a Band-Aid on it, or, I know there was talk about some type of, sealer or something, primer type of
The bonding agent.
material, and then painting it.
How much, do you remember how much was put aside for that? I think it was like 15,000 or something. Maybe I might be totally off.
25, something like that?
I don't know, it was part of the,
If that's something
Skip
that
this and
council
do
would like to see
pickleball.
done, we can definitely,
I'm just kinda wondering if we put that
It's
towards,
getting late in the season though.
yeah, I think,
Most painters they're booking their fall stuff because they've been filled up for the summer.
I think maybe we should put that as a priority for next year.
Get it done before Founder's Day, is that what you're saying?
It would be nice.
Gonna have some.
that is
old-time
such a
games
cool
out there.
building to just only use
I
once
think
a
the
day.
Historical Society should do it.
Well, he probably would.
But the others,
The issue is, everybody's like, we only use it once a year. If you call him, he drops pretty much everything and he'll take you up there at any time. Keep in mind though, if you didn't call in advance, it might not be clean up there.
Well, we could do like just kind of trick them and be, hey, can you show us how they historically would have painted this building?
Yeah, give us a demonstration.
Keep in mind, he's the youngest at 70 years old.
Well, bring them all.
of course, when you're looking for something, you can't find it. I came across it the other day when I was working on this.
Yeah.
It was either 24 or 25.
okay.
Oh, that's what I'm looking at, 26, huh?
It doesn't seem like that long ago that they put all that work into it either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll have to track that down and,
Yeah, I'm just kinda curious if we, take a better look at that and budget it for next year. That's okay, Joe.
I'll track it down.
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
Get it to you.
All right, well, if there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
motion by Wormeskirchen, second by Miller. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.